Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting a like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now today's first story comes from a deleted user that says, am I the arsehole here for going home with brother-in-law? To make this long story short, my fiance 29 male, his brother 24 male, and me 25 female were on a party with my fiance's side of the family, and they can get pretty wild partying until literally the next day. I'm not used to this kind of event, nor do I drink much, but I had a couple of drinks at the party and around midnight, my head hurt. I was tired and I felt dizzy, so I asked my fiance to take me home. And he said soon, but 1 a.m. came and he was still dancing around with his cousins. My brother-in-law sat next to me and said, I'm heading home now, would you like me to take you too? I said yes, and I texted my fiance telling him I left already. When I came home, I realized I didn't have the key because it was in the same keychain as the car keys, so I was unable to enter home. I was frustrated, I was almost in tears because my head was hurting so bad. He then asked me if I wanted to crash at his place, and I thought about it, but I didn't want to wait for my fiance to get home at probably 7 or 8 a.m, so I agreed and went to his place. He lives about 20 minutes from us. He offered me his bed and he went to sleep on the sofa. I fell asleep instantly and woke up around 11 a.m. I grabbed my phone and around 30 plus missed calls and like 100 messages from my fiance. I called him and he started asking me where I was and why I wasn't answering. He was yelling and panicking, and I told him I was at my brother-in-law's house, and he hung up without answer. I went to wake up my brother-in-law, and not even 15 minutes later, my fiance was already there yelling and accusing us of cheating. He realized I was wearing my brother-in-law's clothes and freaked out even more. I tried to explain that nothing happened because we don't have that kind of relationship, but he didn't believe us. Then he stormed off, but 5 minutes after, came back and grabbed me to take me home with him. He asked for my phone and I gave it to him. And after not finding anything, he still thinks I have something with his brother. He told his entire family he was cutting brother-in-law off and won't talk to him ever again, but didn't tell anyone why. He then said I need to work extra hard for him to forgive me, and we need couples counseling, but only after I confess what we did. But literally nothing happened. I was just extremely tired. I've known him for 6 years, so I decided to go with him. I talked to my mom and she said I disrespected my relationship by going home with another man, and I shouldn't be surprised if my fiance calls our engagement off. I love my fiance very much, but I never saw him like this and I don't know what to do. My mother-in-law calls me constantly asking me if I know what happened and why would my fiance treat his brother like this, and I don't know what to tell her. I was just too tired and my head was killing me, so I went home, and now I don't even know if my relationship is salvageable. Edit to clarify something. A lot of y'all are asking why I didn't tell my fiance face to face that I was leaving with brother-in-law, and that's because I knew he would have stopped me and told me he would take me home and then keep me waiting for him. I know I didn't do everything the right way, but my head was killing me and I was tipsy. As for the t-shirts, I thought sleeping in a crop top with no bra was worse than asking for a t-shirt to cover myself. And why didn't I ask brother-in-law to text his brother? It didn't even cross my mind at the time. Plus, my fiance and I have that thingy where you can check where the other one is. I don't know what the name of it is on Android. Edit 2, I talked to my mother-in-law. Might update tomorrow. So, obviously there's going to be comments with questions and relevant information. So the first commenter says, why didn't you text or call your fiance? Regardless of the cheating accusations, that must have been mighty scary for him not knowing where you were. Your fiance should have taken you home if you weren't feeling well. I don't think you're an arsehole or the relationship is ruined. Give it a little time for cooler heads to prevail and then communicate with each other. Opie says, I thought I did, but I didn't send the text apparently. And when I got headaches, they're almost always blinding and I can barely see any screen. Commenter says, not the arsehole. You didn't feel good and he did nothing about it. Are you sure he's ready to get married in the first place? He doesn't trust you or his brother. You have to make it up to him. This sounds like someone you might want to marry and spend the rest of your life with. Opie says, it's the first time I've seen him like this. That's why I'm worried. Commenter says, if he moved the way you moved that night, How would you be thinking and feeling the next day when a simple phone call to him could have avoided all of this? Why not a phone call? You had your phone because you stayed. You woke up to missed calls and messages. This is mad suspect. Opie says he never answered my calls, so I decided to text. He has his phone on Do Not Disturb, so even if I called, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't answer. Commenter says, I think you're both at fault. Him to a higher degree though. You for not letting him know you went with brother-in-law, and him for leaving you with your headache and not coming home till later. Opie says, I saw the first call was at 8:47 AM, so he wasn't really thinking about taking me home. Commenter says, you need to go on the offense and tell your fiancé to grow up, and if he intends to marry you, he needs to prioritize taking care of you over partying. It doesn't sound like he was in any shape to drive. Curious about one thing. Could you not have just gone to sleep where you were at? Nonetheless, stand up for yourself. If he can't trust you now, no sense in moving forward. This assumes there isn't any history or other reason to think anything about brother-in-law. Where was the brother-in-law's wife? I'm guessing fiancé's sister. Opie says there are only 2 rooms and both of them were occupied, and my mother-in-law locked her living room because people steal her things. I almost pulled 2 chairs together and slept there Latino party style, but I was cold. Commenter says, is it normal for your fiancé to stay out partying until 7 to 8 AM? You said he didn't call until 8:47 AM. Is that a usual time for him to come home from partying? Had he been drinking? How is he supposed to drive you home drunk? If he often drinks until the next morning and stumbles in wasted, he's an even bigger asshole than just ignoring you in pain. He's going to kill himself or someone else. My vote is to leave this arsehole, but if you stay, please make him take a taxi, Uber, etc. when he drinks. I can see this being completely innocent. You weren't feeling well, it's 1 AM and he's still going. You seem afraid to stand up for yourself or properly communicate with him, and figured you'll be safe with your fiancé's brother. Him flipping out and throwing accusations immediately is wild. How often does he tie one on without you? This is also alarming. I'll be totally fine with my husband catching a ride with my sister, but I wouldn't keep him waiting on me while I partied until 9 AM. Opie says in our country, it is normal to go to the club until 5 AM, but not really house parties, and he promised not to drink this time. He came home at 6 back in the day. He came at home 6 back in the day, but calmed down a lot, and usually comes home around 2 AM now. And one more commenter who says, did he drink this time, and how often does he go clubbing? I know culturally things are probably different, but in any culture, it's pretty wild to be out at the club until 2 AM with a fiancé at home and call that calm down. Part of getting engaged is making commitment to prioritize your relationship and the life you're building with that person. I'd say that, as well as his reaction to the situation, should give you a lot to think about. You're so young, an entire life ahead of you. Do you really want to spend it with an almost 30-year-old who still parties like they're 20? Opie says he wasn't supposed to drink, but he did. If I knew he would have drunk, I would have driven us there, and he goes like every couple of months now, not like he did before, almost every week. So at first I was going to come into this thinking, a simple text or message or something would have solved a lot of these issues, but Opie's already countered all of that. So I couldn't help but turn to fiancé on this, that, she felt unwell, she's asked to leave multiple times, got ignored, so decides to take a ride with brother-in-law, which in my opinion is totally reasonable. And then she was stuck with nowhere else to sleep because the keys were the fiancé. So, brother-in-law did a good thing in this. It sounded like he looked after her. It did have me thinking about what the relationship between the brothers is like in this situation for him to immediately jump in on this whole cheating thing. But I found it interesting that in one of OP's comments that the fiancé didn't even check on her really until 9 AM. That was the first phone call, did it say, or something like that? There's so much for all that concern, right? But there was a whole bunch of red flags as well, promising not to drink, doing it anyway, ignoring her when she was in pain to begin with and wanted to leave, the phone being on Do Not Disturb, so she can't reach him, but he's expecting her to be available all the time. That was like, what? And instead of wondering if she's okay in the situations, it just seemed to be immediate accusations and at her, and then saying to her that you need to work extra hard for forgiveness. But Opie did come in with an update a couple of days later and said, hey, it's me again. This time I put a TLDR at the end because shit got complicated and I don't know exactly how to explain it all. So first of all, I checked my ex's phone. I know you're not supposed to do that and people deserve privacy and whatnot, but quite a lot of people said he was probably projecting. So I waited until he fell asleep and checked it. Well, long story short, he is cheating, and for about a month now. I don't know the girl, but from what I saw in the conversations, it seems like she is a co-worker. I don't know. I was shocked and a little sad, but somehow relieved. Because at the end of the day, it seems like he was trying to make me feel bad because he was the one doing something wrong behind my back. So the next morning around 5 a.m, he went to work and I packed my essentials and went to my sister's house. I explained the situation and her and her husband were more than happy to let me stay. My brother-in-law, my sister's husband, let's call him Lucas, told me he could go with me later if I wanted to retrieve more of my things, and I said maybe. I also went to my ex-mother-in-law's house just to talk more than anything. My brother-in-law, ex's brother, let's call him Frank, was also there. I don't know if mother-in-law called him or if it was just a coincidence. But I told my mother-in-law everything that happened, including the cheating, which I had proof because I took pictures of his phone with mine. She was horrified and started crying. But the thing is, Frank said he did text my ex. He showed us the texts and there were like 10 from, hey, I'll take her home because you're an alcoholic. Another saying, she didn't have a key, I'll take her to my place, and even a selfie where I was passed out on the bed in the back. Another saying, she is safe, come take her tomorrow. So that was weird because when I checked my ex's phone, I didn't see any text from Frank, so he either deleted them or blocked his brother. And also mother-in-law said she woke up around 6:30/7 a.m. and nobody was in her house anymore, so ex wasn't there partying till almost 9 a.m. when he started to call me. I had some mixed feelings and I cried a lot, but I didn't have any energy left to ask my ex for answers. I just sent him a text telling him it was over, and I moved out and blocked him. But my dumbass forgot to turn off the share location, so he showed up at my sister's house and started crying and asking me if I don't love him anymore and whatever. I didn't want to disturb anyone else, so I invited him in, just because Lucas was home and felt safe enough. He started babbling again about love and stuff, and I just told him I knew about his affair. His face instantly changed, and he stopped crying. It was scary, to be honest. I never saw him like that. He just said he didn't mean anything, and I was the only one who can be his wife. And I was like, no thank you. He got very agitated and grabbed me by my hair. I screamed and Lucas came thankfully very quickly and kind of choked him. He's in the military, so it was honestly impressive because my ex is taller. He kicked my ex out and told him he wouldn't let go very easily next time if he tries something like that again. I just cried a lot and started to have probably a panic or anxiety attack because I felt like I couldn't breathe. I don't remember much really after that, other than waking up in the middle of the night with my sister next to me. It felt safe to be with her. I just fell asleep again closer to her. Her and Lucas want me to make a police report because he got very violent. I don't know if they'd do anything because he didn't hit me really, but Lucas said he would be my witness if I need it, and he would go with me to make the report as well. I called my ex-mother-in-law today again to tell her what her son did. I think she needs to know. I told her I really love her, but I don't think I can keep contact with her after what happened. Frank tried to call me a couple of times too, but I don't really have the energy to do so. My sister said her and Lucas are moving next year for work and I should come with them to the new city. And I think I'll do it because I don't think there is anything else for me to do here. She is the only family I have left, so why would I stay far away from her? I think that's all. If you'll need more context or something, just tell me and I'll clarify. If I can, then Merry Christmas. The escalation in that and the violence when OP explained that, he turned up and he was basically love bombing her, saying how much I love you, all this kind of stuff. And as soon as he got called out on the cheating, he changed instantly. And that is absolutely terrifying. Usually in these stories, we see it quite a lot. It's usually like a verbal change. Like when they get called out or they get brushed off, it's usually, oh, you're such and such, just a bunch of verbal abuse. But the fact that he went straight for the physical, holy moly. And this was in a place where he knew other people would be at the same time. He just didn't care. As always, I know it's easy for me to say, but I really hope that OP does file that police report because in the end, assault is assault. And this creates like some sort of paper trail if it does escalate, if he does do this to someone else. And I really hope that she does move with her sister because that fresh start, I know it's not 100%, but it's almost like another layer of protection away from this absolute nut. But a commenter says to OP, report it OP. If not for you, for the next poor soul he does it to. Godspeed and best of luck in the future. OP says, my sister says that even if the police don't do anything now, at least I have evidence if he tries something else. So I think I can go tomorrow. Commenter says, you should absolutely report the attack and have Lucas escort you to get the rest of your belongings. Do not go back to stay in the house with him. Having a record of domestic violence may help in your divorce proceedings. Some things to do in your spare time. Remove half your money for any joint accounts. Change the passwords or cancel any shared devices. Streaming services, rideshare, Wi-Fi, phone plans, etc. Remove his name if he's on your health insurance. Remove him as beneficiary or emergency contact from any accounts or policies. Remove him as your health proxy. Stop sharing locations. Contact a divorce attorney right away as well. Opie says we weren't married, just engaged. We have separate bank accounts, but I forgot about the bills. I have to cancel some. And one more commenter says report it to the police. Then you have a paper trail in case you need a restraining order. Tell your ex-brother-in-law exactly what happened and your ex-mother-in-law. Tell them you've gone to the police and will press charges if he comes near you again. Moving with your sister sounds like a great plan. Best of luck, OP. And at least you found out before you got married to that cheating piece of shit. OP says, I told my ex-mother-in-law, and I think she told my ex-brother-in-law because he's been calling and texting asking if I'm okay. But I just don't want to talk to anyone now, so I hadn't responded yet. And I do wish OP all the best going forward and keeping away from him. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Now our next story comes from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit, and it says, am I the arsehole here for not helping my sister claim her casino winnings? My sister and brother-in-law like to go to the casino. They also like to drag anyone they can into their messes. So I don't, is it fuck with them? She won a large amount of money at the slots, and for some reason that I don't want to know, she told them she was me. The casino's payout policy for the amount she won is for it to occur during business hours. She knows I won't go anywhere with her, so she couldn't lure me to the casino. She came clean and said she'd give me a few thousand for helping. She always thinks enough money will motivate anyone. I told her no and hung up the phone. I don't want to be a part of any of that. Now she's got the rest of the family up my butt because money. Both of our brothers yelled at me for not getting over myself enough to help her out this one time. I'm thinking she offered them some money too. But whatever. Her messed up name is not my problem. She's been hatching plans all her life and I got dragged into them by default. Our father favored her because she's the baby and made me responsible for her because that's your sister. Her trouble is your trouble. I walked away when I became an adult. Even if I did get along with her, I don't go to casinos, and the thought of shenanigans with them, no ma'am, Pam. Does me being a goody two-shoes make me an arsehole? First question in my head is, why is she using your name in the first place? Your sister is literally committed identity theft at a casino, which is just impressively stupid, and now wants you to be a part of the fraud. And it sounds like, from what you've been saying, you spent a large part of your life dealing with your sister's bullshit and you're just done with it, while the rest of your family seems to enable it. What did the dad say? Her trouble is your trouble. What kind of bullshit is that? You know, I would stick up for my brothers in many situations, but if one of them was committing identity theft against me, you know, that's a whole nother level, right? But I'm still left wondering why she's using your name to begin with. What is going on? What kind of trouble is she in? She got some kind of credit card in your name and is using it or something along those lines. But commenter says not the arsehole. If it was above board for her to use her name, she would have instead of using your name. Does she not like her name or something? Opie says it's mud. She got in a lot of trouble when she was young from all her schemes. She supposedly cleaned her life up, but I still kept my distance. I'm glad I did because this stunt proves she hasn't really changed. Commenter says change your name so they can't fuck with you no more. God knows what else she's used your name for. That's identity theft. Or better yet, go claim the winnings and don't give it to them. You could donate the money instead. Opie said she's the reason I keep my credit report locked. She gave my name to the cops when she was caught in the park after hours. She had an outstanding warrant on her for not showing up for a court date. This was 20 years ago, but I never forgot. Commodore says, not the arsehole. I'll be reporting the attempted fraud to the casino. Your name is currently on their books. Opie says, good point. I hadn't thought of that. Commodore says, check your credit. File reports, lock your credit. Though with a sister like that, you've probably done all this already. Opie says 100%. I protected myself years ago. Someone says, why doesn't Opie's father deal with this since her sister is his favorite? Opie says he passed away years ago. Commodore says, Opie could go claim the money. They will usually take out federal and state taxes here in PA. But you can tell how much you wish to have withheld for taxes. Have 50% of the winnings withheld, and then when you file your own taxes, you will get a bigger refund. Thus collecting whatever sister wants to give you and a bonus at tax time. Having said that, sis has a problem with gambling, being banned, and is doing something in a fraudulent manner. Don't get involved. Opie says, I'm not touching that money. No way. Commodore says, not the arsehole, but why wouldn't you claim the whole money for yourself? That's pretty dumb. Opie says, because I didn't win it. Full stop. For me to claim it would be dishonest, and that shit comes back to you. I've never stepped foot in a casino except for when I went to clear all this up. Keep thinking like that and you'll fuck your name up like my sister fucked hers up. Commodore says, not the arsehole. Even if you lived in a jurisdiction where gambling wins such as this were not considered income, you were within your rights to tell her to pound sand. Even if nothing else illegal has been done by her, there is nothing yet stopping her from committing ID theft and fraud. If you haven't yet done so, contact the credit bureaus and let them know that you've had reports of someone pretending to be you. Also, if she's ever had any access to your phone, computer, etc., change your passwords and banking account loggings ASAP. Opie says she did social engineering before the internet. We're Gen X, so I learned years ago not to let her have access to any of my things. And I had my credit file on lock old school, early 90s, even had passwords at the call centers. That just protected me financially. It did nothing to stop her from telling the cops that she was me when she got stopped with outstanding warrants or using my expired IDs to gain access to clubs while she was underage. We're in our late 40s now. I stay vigilant. Is it me in this? But the commenters telling OP to claim the money, it just seems a bit silly in my opinion. I'm totally with OP to just not touch that money, because from videos I've seen, etc., and I'm not talking about like Hollywood movies or anything like that, but actual documentaries, casinos have like such tight security that they know that they have surveillance footage of everyone playing their machines. You know, they have timestamps and machine records, all this kind of stuff. So if they wanted to, they could actually prove that OP walking in isn't that person who won in the first place. It just sounds like a messy situation that OP could get themselves in trouble for, you know, almost participating in this fraud to begin with. It just sounds like a messy situation. Obviously, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but to me, I would be like, hell no. But OP adds an update and says, the responses that said giving them my name involves me in this got to me. I called the police. The detective I spoke to said no fraud has been committed yet because the money has not been claimed, and it's not a crime to give a false name to a casino. But she also said to not relax because there's nothing stopping my sister from getting a fake ID made and claiming the money, especially since I refused to help. She also mentioned the fraudulent tax liability, in case the casino didn't spot the fake ID. She said it was better to reach out to the casino now. So I did. I explained the situation and made it clear my name was given fraudulently. Turns out she was banned from the casino over a separate incident. When she hit the jackpot, they were prepared to pay out then, once they verified her ID. She told them she didn't bring it with her and ID'd herself as me. The manager told me that case was flagged anyway. They're automatically suspicious of winners who claim they forgot their ID. I'm not sure if she's ever made a flat-out fake ID of me before, but when my probationary driver's license expired, she did use it to get into clubs while I was away at college. We looked a lot more alike back then, just forever scheming. I'm glad I didn't chance it. Thank you to everyone who responded. And a lot of the comments on this one just saying that the sister sounds like an addict. The fact that she's been banned from the casino before and is still trying to gamble in there as well is just absolutely wild, isn't it? I'm glad that OP did speak to both, authorities and the casino at the same time to try and get this sorted, because, if someone's willing to go to these levels, I got no doubt that she would try to get a fake ID if possible, or something along those lines to claim that money, especially if it's a large amount. It all just sounds really exhausting for OP at the same time. Having to watch your back for this kind of shit going on all the time is wild, isn't it? Poor OP. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.